their product, trying to sell you their paper, their periodical, their air slot, their time slot. Okay? So that's where that stands at that particular point. Okay? So another thing that's on my mind, and as I mentioned a few days ago on the program, last Friday, I think it's the first time that I brought it up, is about a lot of Christians are posting things that they're thankful for during the month of November. And as I mentioned, some of it is not settling well with me, because I think a lot of Christians are doing it to brag about what they have or brag about their life. And I'm not big on bragging. Okay? I've never really liked it, and yet we all do it. But with that being said, and about prayers, a friend of mine posted this comment on her Facebook page yesterday, and I wanted to pass it along to you. She said, "I don't know what to say when people ask for prayers." And I admit I'm kind of in the same situation. I have a lot of friends, dear friends. As a matter of fact, one I'm going to mention a little bit later on in the show today, on the Song of the Day, who's a strong advocate of prayer, and I respect her wishes in that regard. And I know she's prayed on my behalf of things that have happened in my life. But over the years, I have become a lot more cynical about prayers. Okay? It may work for some people. In my experience, it's a way of bystanders thinking that they've had a hand in changing things, when they really probably had no direct influence on it at all. Well, my friend Jackie writes, "I simply don't believe that there's any point to them," prayers she's talking about, "but somehow it gives comfort to those who ask for them, believing that there are some magical words that, spoken in just the right way, by just the right people, or just enough people, will cause a divine being to pause or reconsider a path of destruction or stop an illness." Stepping aside for a moment, growing up, the first time my dad had lung cancer, was diagnosed with lung cancer, was in the summer of 1980. And for years and years and years and years, and I even attested to it for a while, that prayers helped save him. Not once during that time did I recall praising the doctors and the nurses for taking care of him, for administering the drugs, for checking things out. Maybe prayer did help. But I think it was more of my dad's stamina, his willpower, his desire to live. And part of that drive was to see me grow up to be a man. And I regret that I have not done more to continue my family line. I have tried, but I've had a history of picking women who didn't have my heart in their best interest. That's my mistake. I'm hoping to turn that around, and I still have time, but I admit time is running out. To at least make it somewhat feasible, that I'm not looking like a man who's going through a midlife crisis. I've already had a couple of mini crises over the years. But this idea, though, that prayer is somehow going to turn things around, that you're going to change the laws of the universe, change the mind of God, just because you beg enough, to me is God being the bully, and you're the bullied one, begging for His mercy. I was picked on relentlessly by a kid by the name of Paul Moyer for 2.5 years while his mother babysat me. Now, I don't have any animosity toward his family, and I don't really have any animosity towards Paul anymore. I got over that years ago. But it still affects my judgment. It still affects my attitudes and the way I treat people and the way I expect people to treat me. As a matter of fact, one of my biggest fears is being abandoned. I've always had that fear for other reasons I won't get into right now. And I take loyalty and friendship very seriously, because Paul was one of the first people that I met in Fayette that became a friend in first grade. And we were friends up until third grade. And then that was at the time that his mother started babysitting me. Now, it was convenient for my mom because the Moyers lived right up the block from where I lived. I was within about 2 minutes of walking home if I needed to. So it was convenient on so many levels. But Paul's attitude began to change because it was around that time that he hit puberty. He was 2 years older than me. And, for a while he'd be my best buddy, and then he would turn and either hit me in the stomach, hit me in the shoulder, start calling me names. So I take that stuff very seriously. And this was a vicious cycle that went on for 2.5 years until I finally confronted him in 5th grade, and he never picked on me after that. But what I'm getting at is I have a hard time with a relationship with any deity because historically gods have been portrayed as bullies in some sense. You may think your Christian God is a loving, benevolent God, but he's also vengeful. He sacrificed part of his own existence, his son, which is also him, which is another weird paradox that I don't want to get into right now. So I have a hard time accepting that. Okay? And besides, I remember one of the things that my dad said right after he was diagnosed, that a lot of us were crying and worrying about him. And he said, quite bluntly, almost deadpan, and said, I don't know what you're all worried about. I'm the one that got the diagnosis. Well, getting back to what my friend Jackie said, my heart goes out to those who suffer, and I would do anything I could to ease the suffering. But to make an empty promise, would that really help? If praying would help ease pain or stop the inevitable, I would gladly do it. But I wouldn't know to which magical supernatural being to direct my prayers, or for what exactly I should be praying. There's no evidence that prayers do any good regardless. I know there are people that would dispute that, but she's right. Because it's all, emotional data. It's all theoretical as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing empirical to say that this prayer worked or this prayer worked, or that prayer didn't work. Now, what if prayers conflict? What if I pray that a loved one who's dying be allowed to live for 10 more years, while another prays for a quick, painless death? What if I pray that he goes in peace, while others pray that his life is extended? What if I pray to the wrong deity? Is there an omniscient, omnipotent being up there? He already knows and has already planned what's going to happen, and my prayers would be useless. I say this with a heavy heart, as someone I love is dying, and my family is asking me to pray for him. I tell them that I keep him in my thoughts, and that's true. I think of him every day. I think of all the good he's done in this world, of all the people he's helped, the people he's loved who love him right back. I think of how grateful I am that there are people like him in this world, creative, compassionate, caring, and giving. He inspires me to strive to be a better person. I hope to do so more than prayers ever could. I hope to live by his example. I have compassion, but I hope to work toward expressing it more in real ways. Thoughts, like prayers, do nothing. Hands making those thoughts become useful action are more meaningful. So that's why I'm skeptical of prayer to a certain extent. Because she's right, and it's something I hadn't really considered. But what if you do have conflicting prayers? And my family went through this 12 years ago when my dad was dying of lung and brain cancer. Even though I knew from the moment he told me that he was suffering from both, that it was over. And I didn't blame him for giving up, because he had suffered for a long time in that regard. So it's just something to consider. And another reason why I'm skeptical about a lot of these prayers, because to me they aren't really prayers, or not necessarily prayers, but there are some that say they pray on there, or that they're prayers that they're posting. But are you praying, or are you bragging about what you have? Okay? You brag about what you have when you sit down at your Thanksgiving meal in 3 weeks from today. But what about the poor schmuck who's barely getting by financially? Or the homeless guys? Okay? So those are things to consider. Well, I'm going to step aside for a few seconds, and when we come back, we'll have news headlines for you, the nationwide weather forecast, the composer's date book, the writer's almanac. But coming up next, it'll be things you need to know, things that are trending on this Thursday. So stick around. More first cup is on the way. I guarantee. I don't know why I'm doing this fake Cajun accent, but I am. Okay? We'll be right back, friends. So stick around. More first cup is coming up in a few seconds.
How's it going, Norm?
Not so good. Missed a digit in the debit column today. Boss is now using my butt for an ashtray.
Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Smile.
Smile, buddy.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy. You know how boys are.
Or maybe he's teething. Oh, poor baby. I think his gums hurt.
Maybe he's just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Disability is something most people don't like to think about. But a 35-year-old man has a 1 in 5 chance of becoming disabled during his working lifetime. A woman of the same age has a 1 in 4 chance. If you become disabled and are unable to work, you may apply for Social Security disability benefits. There are 2 ways you can apply. The fastest and most convenient way is online at www.socialsecurity.gov. Or you may call 1-800-772-1213 to make an appointment to apply at your local Social Security office or to set up an appointment for someone to take your application over the phone. Learn more about disability benefits and take advantage of the helpful Disability Starter Kit at www.socialsecurity.gov/disability. That's www.socialsecurity.gov/disability.
Hi friends, Joe Hafner here. Are you interested in buying, selling, trading, or renting a house? Or maybe you're in the market for buying or selling a car? Or perhaps selling or giving away clothes, furniture, or electronics? Well, I can help you out. Just email me, Joe, at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. That's Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. Email me today with your item and or items, and together we'll come up with a creative way to buy, sell, trade, or rent any reasonable item or service that you want. Keep in mind, though, I don't deal with the exchange of firearms, alcohol items, drugs, or anything illegal or immoral. So send me an email today at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. Captain's Log, November 7th, 2013. I've always wanted to do that. Welcome back to Studio 27 on this Thursday morning. It is the 7th day of November, 2013. And I hope you're having a pleasant Thursday. Things are getting started and off to a good running. And you're probably going, well, I need to know some things to impress my friends at the water cooler because the break is coming up in a few minutes. And, well, frankly, I don't know what to talk about today. Well, they give me a let me give you a few items to think about here, such as that tongue-tied guy on your computer can't seem to articulate today. So without further delay, here's what's trending on this Thursday.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really